Alright guys, this is Unit 2 Day 3 remix. Okay, it's just a review. We're going to go ahead and go through this pretty quickly until the end of the notes when we do cover a little something new with variables and our exponents. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fly through these first couple. By now, we should be able to cover this easily. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice a few. Remember, anything raised to a 0, you can go ahead and kind of cancel out there because it's just a 1. So we're going to go ahead and simplify. -8 times, can we combine anything in the top? Yeah, let's go ahead and combine those. Remember when the x's are, when our exponents are not in parentheses, we are not going to multiply, we're going to add. So it's times 4x to the 14th over -2 to the -4. Now, do we have anything in our numerator or denominator that we have to move? Yes, we're going to go ahead and move this entire -2 raised to the -4th. So it's -2x to the 14th times -2 raised to the 4th. Okay, here we're going to go ahead and simplify our whole numbers out front. Okay, -8 times 4 times -2 to the 4th is 64. And then you have x to the 14th that needs to get brought down with it. All right, number 2. Let's go ahead and just simplify our top and bottom before we move anything around. 3 times -2, -6. Okay, you do have some exponents to combine here. So remember, we're going to add our exponents. Okay, so here now, that's the only thing we're going to have to move upwards. So -6x to the 13th, y to the 7th, y to the 13th. Remember, when you move levels, you change the negative to a positive exponent. So here now, go ahead and combine your y's. So you have -6x to the 13th, y to the 20th. All right, number 3, remember we talked about this day 2. Okay, you got to distribute that -4 to every term on the inside. So here we have -2x and y. Okay, make sure you keep this -2 in parentheses. This is going to change the outcome a little bit. So x to the 12th, 3 times 4, and then y is -9 to the 4th, -36. All right, -2 to the 4th is 16. All right, and now we can go ahead and move our negative exponent to the bottom. So you get 16x squared over y to the 36th power. All right, number 4, go ahead and simplify most you can. Here you can go ahead and cross those out. So it's -3 times 5 to the -2nd power, x to -10, and y to the 6th. So here you want to go ahead and move numbers to the bottom. So here you're going to move 5 to the -10th and x to the -10th to the bottom. So -3, y to the 6th is left on top. And we're going to move 5 squared x to the 10th to the bottom. Okay, go ahead and finish your problem. You get -3y to the 6th over 25x to the 10. If you could, you would simplify -3 over 25. You can't, so there's your final answer. Okay, number 5. Anything raised to the 0 just kind of cancels out, so we're left with -2 times 9x to the -4th. And -2 times 9, -18th x to the -4th, and then you can go ahead and move your x to the -4th downwards to the denominator. So you get -18 over x raised to the 4th. All right, number 6. I'm going to go ahead and simplify my fraction here first. 4/20ths is going to equal 1 over 5. Okay, and then I'm going to move any negatives around. So a to the 13th gets moved, c to the -8th gets moved, and d to the -50 gets moved. So what stays on top? your a to the 30 stays. Okay, your a to the 13th and your c to the 8th get moved up. Your d to the negative 50 gets moved down and becomes d to the positive 50. Okay, we're still not done though. We still have to combine our like terms. Remember, when we're adding exponents with the same base, the base stays the same. So it's going to be a to the 43rd, c to the 8th over 5d to the 50th power. All right, number 7. Okay, you always want to make sure you distribute first. So you have 1, 2, 3 terms on the inside you're distributing this to. So 2 to the 3rd power. 2 to the 3rd power is going to equal 8. C to the negative 3rd. And x to the 36th. All over, we want to make sure we bring this along. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify our fraction. 8 divided by 8 is just 1. Okay, so it's going to be 1 over 1. Then let's go ahead and move any negative exponents. Okay, so x to the 36 stays on top. You're going to move x to the 12th up. C to the 14th stays in the bottom. You're going to move C to the 3rd down. So then you're going to go ahead and combine your like terms. X to the 36, and then you also have the C's. So you get X to the 48th power over C to the 17th power. All right, number 8. Okay, you got to make sure you distribute everywhere. In the second one, you have 3 terms, and the first one 2 terms. So you have negative 3 raised to the 6th power, x to the 12th, times negative 2 raised to the 3rd power, x to the 12th, y to the 3rd. Make sure you keep the negatives in parentheses. It's going to give you a completely different answer if you do not. So negative 3 to the 6th power is 729. X to the 12th times negative 2 raised to the 3rd power is negative 8. X to the 12th, y to the 3rd. So now 729 times negative 8 is going to equal negative 5,832. You want to go ahead and combine your x's. So you get x to the 24th and bring your y down. Okay, like I said, I'm going through this pretty quickly, guys. This should be a review. If you need to pause, go ahead and pause and copy the problems down and see how we are doing it. Okay, number 9 is real easy. All of these have the same bases. You always want to combine before we move anything from the numerator to the denominator. So 43 minus 20 is going to be 23, plus 12 is 35, minus 12 is 23. So x to the 23rd power. All right, let's move on to the back page now. If you are adding or subtracting your terms, you just combine like terms. So remember, okay, we have x squared and x squared. Those are like terms. So now you just got to add your x coefficients out front. 1 plus 3 is 4, so you get 4x squared. Okay, make sure you go ahead and distribute. 3 squared is 9. X squared minus 10x squared gets brought down. Okay, you have x squared is your like term. So now you have 9 minus 10. You get negative 1x squared. Go ahead and distribute. Negative 4a to the 9th. Okay, plus negative 2 to the 9th, a to the 9th. Go ahead and simplify. Negative 2 raised to the 9th power is negative 512, a to the 9th. Okay, you have your like terms, so a to the 9th is your like term. So you're going to do negative 4 minus 512. You get negative 516a to the 9th power. All right, the last 6 problems are all very similar problems, just with variable exponents now. Okay, let's take a look. So it's the same thing as before. When we're multiplying, go ahead and multiply your whole numbers out front. Negative 6. Okay, your bases are the same here. Okay, when you have the same base, it stays, and then you just add your exponents. So negative 6x, these are like terms, so you can go ahead and add them. Negative 6x 9m. All right, number 2, remember you have to multiply that 2 by every term in the inside. So A gets it, B gets it, and your B in the denominator gets it. So when you do that, you have A, 3x times 2 is 6x. B, 9x times 2 is 18x. Over B, negative 6x divided or multiplied by 2 is negative 12x. Okay, now nothing is changing here. You still want to make sure you get rid of your negative exponents, okay, by moving them a level if needed. So here you get a to the 6x, b to the 18x, and then b to the positive 12x. Remember, moving it changes it to a positive. Okay, so here, go ahead and take a look to see if you have any like terms. Okay, a, you do not have any other base, so you're just going to go ahead and add 6x. Okay, your bases are the same here, b to the 18x and b to the 12x. So it's b 18x plus 12x, and your final answer is going to be a to the 6x, b to the 30th x. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Okay, number 3, I'm going to go ahead and simplify my fraction out front. Okay, negative 6 divided by 36 is just negative 1 over 6. So then that takes care of that. Okay, you can simplify the fraction at the beginning or you can simplify it at the end. It does not matter. Okay, now what negative exponents do we have to move? A to the negative 3rd, x to the negative 8k, and c to the negative 4z. All of those have to move. So what's moving to the top? You have x to the positive 8k now. You have c to the positive 4z. Okay, nothing else is moving to the top, but you have a to the positive 3j moving down. Can you combine any other terms? Is there any like terms with x? No. C? No. A? No. So here's your final answer. All right, number 2. You have to distribute 3 times here to the negative 4, to the g, and to the w. So you get 2 wy gam times negative 4 squared g to the negative 8m and w to the 8y. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of our exponents, or our whole numbers. So 2wy g8m times 16 g to the negative 8m w8y. Okay, now before we move any numbers from the denominator to the from the numerator to the denominator, let's combine and see if we can add our exponents first. So 2 times 16 is 32. Okay, you have w bases, okay, so you can combine those. So w 1y plus 8y is 9y. And then lastly, you have g to the 8m, g to the negative 8m. You get g to the 0. So remember, those cancel, so we are left with 32w 9y. Again, pause if you need to, but I'm going to keep on moving. Okay, 5. I'm going to simplify my fraction out front and make it 1 over 22. Okay, and then what negative exponents do we have to move around? Here, here, and then k to the 5n is going to stay. So we know k to the 5n is staying on top. What else is moving to the top? K to the positive 7n. And then j to the 2b is going to move down. So go ahead now and combine. You can combine those to get k to the 12n. Remember, when they're not in parentheses, you're going to add your exponents. Over k over 22, j to the 2b is going to stay. Okay, lastly, number 6. Make sure you multiply that negative 4 by everything on the inside. So negative 3 to the negative 4th power, p to the 8x. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. You get q to the negative 32y, and you get r to the negative 12z. Okay, from here, you can't simplify anything. Okay, you can't move much around, so now we're just going to move all our negative exponents to the denominator. So negative 3 raised to the 4th power now. Well, let's go ahead and keep our p to the 8x on top. Nothing else is staying on top. So negative 3 to the 4th power is 81. I'll go ahead and show this here. Okay, q to the 32nd y power is coming down, and r to the 12z is coming down. So this gets p to the 8x over 81q 32y r 12z. Okay, now if you messed up at all here, it was probably in this step here. Make sure when you do this step here, you keep that negative 3 in parentheses the whole time until you get rid of the negative exponent. It's going to help you out a little bit. Okay, so that's day 3 notes. Okay, your homework tonight is worksheet 3. Good luck. If you need any help, please come find anyone at school to help you out.